Came into this game as favourites. That favourites tag is very much in place after the first quarter, and Richard Windle has been the difference in many areas. He's managed to stop Billy Singleton at one end of the court, and he's been scoring at the other end. 6 points personal for him in the first 10 minutes play. As for Leicester Riders, nothing really has gone right for them so far, and to add insult to injury, literally, Carl Brown collapsed underneath the hoop in a challenge, and maybe we won't see him back in the game, being stretching off the court. He's a vital part of the Leicester Riders team. They have 5 starting players, and Carl Brown really is what they amount to. If they don't have him, winning this game may well be difficult. We'll pick it up in the second quarter. Sheffield still very much on top. A scrappy first quarter has resulted, though, in a 9-point advantage for the Sheffield Sharks, who are the favourites to win this match. And Leicester hampered by an injury to Carl Brown, who fell rather awkwardly under the basket towards the end of that first quarter. Leicester will need him. Their bench is not very deep, and Sheffield have taken advantage of that early on in the game. But there's still 3 quarters to go. Myers, Scantlebury. Oh yes, he is in fantastic form. Absolutely superb form this year. Really can seem to do no wrong. That's his first 2 points of the game.
Scans is one of those players that he just seems to get better with age. The older he gets, the more shots he's making.
Well, he's had a fantastic season this year. Seems to go from strength to strength. Of course, he's got England duties now. He's the assistant coach there, and helping out Laszlo Nemeth, so he's got coaching duties on his mind, playing duties on his mind, but he is so focused when he gets onto the court. Terrell Myers, the man to take the cork out of the bottle and just slow things down. 24-second shot clock, 9 remaining. Myers just on the edge. Windle's there to palm it down to Scantlebury, but Billy Singleton's there with the outlet pass very quickly to Johnson. The follow-up from Ralph Blaylock, and that'll be a foul call against Nate Reinking. So the 2 will count, and there'll be an extra 1 to come from the free throw line.
An excellent fast break decision there with a nice bounce pass. Simple play, that's what they needed. The defender not there even close in time.
Ralph Blaylock then, free throw line to trim the lead a little bit further, and he does just that. The lead now 8 points, 26-18, and that was the Achilles heel of Leicester in the first quarter. They were missing free throws, and on this occasion it's Nate Reinking's time to miss out on a pass. Chris Finch is really unhappy with the officials here, and he's screaming at Dale Aitchison about something. If he's not careful, they get a technical because he looks like he's about to explode.
Yeah, I think he's working the referees early. He wants to make sure that the game's going his way from the very start.
Perry, nowhere to go. Singleton's trying to make some space, but when he goes, so does Richard Windle. That's a good matchup, that, isn't it? Windle against Singleton. Leak. Windle has done an awful lot of damage underneath, and Singleton can't put it away. What an interesting matchup that is now. Windle and Singleton, the 2 biggest men virtually on the court together.
Absolutely, the biggest players on the court at the moment, and we're both doing a very good job defensively, getting in the way.
And 2 more for Richard Windle. He's backing them in today. 8 points for Richard Windle, and the lead, the biggest of the game so far, it's 10.
He's playing an outstanding game so far, hitting easy shots, hitting open shots, and making sure he plays fundamentally sound.
There they are, hardly separated by a cigarette paper, those 2, absolutely together, but this time they didn't need him to get involved in the action. The 2 points put away by Ralph Blaylock, and he is up to 6 in the game.
Just a great spin move down the lane, it's wonderful.
3-pointer just a little bit short and right from Payne, and Johnson can bring it away for Leicester again, trying to inject some momentum into the offense. But again, Sheffield are keeping that perimeter very well covered. There's no real way through. Terrell Myers trying to stop it, Scantlebury as well. Another good job done by Sheffield defensively. And Billy Mims thinks the call should have been made. He's having a go at Keith Williams, the other official in the game, but nothing will be called. But there is something happening over there, which involved Mike Payne, right in front of Chris Finch.
Looks like there's a bit of a hassle starting in the corner. It's going to be a physical game now. They're going to expect that with players like Billy Singleton on the floor, a lot of size. It was a clean pick. It was a clean pick. Not surprisingly, though, there's going to be some action.
Well, a few boos emanating from the Leicester Riders fans. Leicester must be virtually empty today because there's lots of them here. Mike Payne's not the most physical player in the Sheffield Sharks team. 7 minutes and 10 remaining in the second quarter. Sheffield have turned up the screw and have dominated the latter part of the first quarter. Just a few errors creeping into the game at the moment, but they're fairly comfortable.
I can't help but think that Leicester Riders, even with the quality one-on-one players they have, really need to move the ball, much like Sheffield has been doing.
Fab Flournoy, too much pace on that shot. And again, Leicester will try and unsettle Sheffield by breaking quickly and breaking early, and a foul committed by Fab Flournoy. For the moment, as far as the foul's concerned, Flournoy's on 2, Kennedy's on 2, Ryan King and Myers have 1 apiece, and Bennett has 1. No real foul trouble on either side. Malcolm Leake is the only player for Leicester who's picked up 2 fouls so far. Seven minutes remaining, second quarter. Leicester trying to eat into this 8-point deficit and hoping that maybe Blaylock's the man to do it. He's very strong, but Sheffield are boxing out so well. Myers down the right-hand side of the court. Maybe he'll go for an early release of a 3, but he's got plenty of options, including that of Ryan King, who's good from this kind of range. Opens his account with 2, and the lead back to 10.
It's an excellent shot, excellent penetration by down the middle, and I think that's a matchup they're going to have to exploit throughout the game.
Malcolm Leake, formerly of London Towers, so this Wembley court was good to him when he was with them. Can he work the oracle and work the miracle for the Leicester Riders? That comes off the foot of Richard Windle, so a reset of the shot clock to 24. Sideline possession for Blaylock. Singleton, but again, Sheffield not allowing them to get too close too soon. Blaylock, a nice round-the-back pass. Nice work, really nice work. That's the best piece of play we've seen from Leicester in the game so far.
Certainly a great pass by Blaylock. It looks, they've gone to Blaylock the last 4 times. A great pass there underneath. They've gone to him the last 4 times. It looks like that is something that they want to try and get going.
On the way to the basket, Myers is fouled. Chris Finch is very, very animated. No basket is called, sideline possession. And I think you might have said earlier on that Chris Finch is the less animated of the 2 coaches. I'm not sure that's the case today.
No, today he seems to have turned it around to make sure that he has no disadvantage due to Billy Mims' activities.
Sideline with Terrell Myers. Richard Windle. Ryan King moving around nicely. The shot clock working its way down. Still plenty of time. Down to 12 now, halfway through, and then it's a steal for the Leicester Riders. The 2 points will count. The foul will also count. No, he's going to call the basket off. So the 2 points won't count, but they'll go to the free throw line for 2. And Sheffield in foul trouble.
A good penetration here by Terrell, who just lost it the last second. And then Scance again, showing his veteran status with a smart foul to stop the 2 points.
Johnson. There's Leake backing in. And again, Scantlebury's the man who's trying to stop him doing that. He'll try again. This time, nice spin by Leake. Very well put away by Malcolm Leake, because Scantlebury was almost in his shorts trying to stop him get anywhere near the hoop. And then the second time of asking, that's precisely where he ended up.
It's amazing, really, just how many weapons this Leicester team has. It seems every starter is a great one-on-one player.
Scantlebury, in awkward position, has 3 white shirts very close to him. No bounce pass available to Richard Windle. So Bennett will have to drive to the basket. Nice play, doesn't drop. Foul is called. Foul, I think, is on Johnson. Johnson doesn't like the call and tells Keith Williams so. That's time for the players to get animated with the referee as well.
Quality move here. Gave him the pump fake, got him up in the air, and then just went by it. With fundamental basketball, you don't have to be the quickest player on the floor. But as long as you're fundamental and strong with it, you'll get easy shots.
But Billy Mims having a long chat with the timekeeper's bench, scorers, just making sure that everything is happy and everybody's happy with the situation, and he seems, well, relatively happy, but not with the scoreline at this stage.
I think Billy Mims knows his team's got such a fast-paced style that they can be down by a couple of points and still be in great shape.
5:01 left in the second quarter, and Zach Bennett's already missed one. That's his second free throw. One to come. Billy Singleton wasn't too sure about that, just checking to make sure. I'm sure Zach Bennett was totally assured about it either, but now he is. Puffs out the cheeks. Oh, those points can be so crucial down the stretch. Both missed. 3 out of 4 missed by Zach Bennett in the game now. Steal by Scantlebury. He'll go all the way. Won't be too many dramatics here, I'm sure. He'll just put it in. Little finger roll. 2 points to Peter Scantlebury. He's too experienced to go and waste that kind of opportunity. Absolutely.
He's been doing that for a long time. He knows that the showtime stuff can wait.
Pretty close to 10,000 points in the British game now, which is some achievement. Work by Perry. He's starting to get a bit more involved in the game now, but every time he gets close, Sheffield get even closer. Myers. Nice work by Myers. A strip to the ball. Was that a clean strip, though? Well, not according to the officials. I don't think the Leicester bench agree. Might well have been clean, but it's going to result in a foul. Let's have a look.
Hard to tell there, but I think that Blaylock, he might have fair comment on that being a fairly clean block.
Well, Billy Mims walks up and down. Team fouls now for Leicester. Myers, who's been very good from the free throw line this year. It's 82%, which is not bad. Just to prove a point, he puts the second one away. Dare I say, if there was one little chink in John Amich's armour, it might well be the free throw line, is it?
Absolutely, I can't deny it. This year especially was not one of my strong points from the foul line.
Very important. Johnson, there's Leak, looking for a way through. Again, there's 3 or 4 shirts. They seem to have more than 5 players out on the court, don't they, Sheffield, sometimes, the way they're marking up, and they are marking up so strongly. But Perry still can't find a way through, and Sheffield get first possession, well, not second phase ball, and Johnson puts it away for 2. But Sheffield are just so strong under the hoop at the moment.
They're doing a great job getting 2 and 3 defenders in the way of the Leicester player. At the same time, they've got to finish it off with a rebound so that they don't give away those easy second chance shots.
Scantlebury for 2 more. The old head, the wires all now. Not celebrating, he's just gesticulating. Far too early for that yet. Johnson, baseline. Perry, strong, very strong indeed. Pernell Perry. That takes him up to 7 points personal. Johnson is their top scorer with 8 at the moment for Leicester, but that was easy.
Terrell Myers made that look very easy, a walk in the park.
Double-figure score now for Terrell Myers. He's up to 10. They're trading baskets, though, and immediately at the other end, Ralph Blaylock puts away 2 more.
I think you can really see a change in style of play right here. We've moved to a much faster pace, which I think perhaps will suit the Leicester Riders.
Terrell Myers, 14 seconds on the shot clock. There's Bennett. Don't want him on the free throw line too often. The indications early on. Bennett, though, turns around nicely. 2 more for him in that kind of position. He's pretty deadly accurate. Blaylock. Just look at the Sheffield cover again. It's frustrating. And Billy Mims and his players want a foul call. Billy Singleton, though, is a half man to push off the ball, but he's not getting into good position to shoot. They're putting him at an angle or too far out, and those kind of shots are really almost like a snooker shot, a shot to nothing.
Yeah, Sheffield's really driving him into the middle lane and making him take tough, off-balance shots, but they're not really his forte.
Ryan King, this is for a 12-point lead if it drops, and it doesn't. Pernell Perry, fast outlet pass quickly to Blaylock. Blaylock, lovely little work from Blaylock. He's really coming into his own in the last couple of minutes, and he really has to if Leicester are going to turn this deficit around.
Yeah, it seems that beautiful drive to the basket there. Great finish, and there were still 2 or 3 defenders around him.
Bennett, it's a dangerous pass, but well read by Peter Scantlebury. Payne, the outside shooter par excellence, doesn't do it this time, leaves it to Scantlebury. 3 seconds on the shot clock, stolen away. Singleton, Johnson, 2-on-1 break here for Leicester, and very easily put up by Ralph Blaylock. 12 points. Timeout has been called by the Sheffield Sharks. 40-34 with 1:43. It's still anybody's game, and Leicester have trimmed it to 6. The biggest lead for Sheffield has been 10. It's now 6, and that's thanks to Ralph Blaylock with 3 straight baskets for Leicester. He's been their one-man scoring machine of recent times. That's short from Payne, but he'll follow it in. Myers, good for the rebounds at the moment, Sheffield. They're reading each other's intentions, covering any error that might go. Scantlebury, 12 seconds, he decides to shoot. He is dead-eyed Dick tonight, of that there is no doubt. Scantlebury from that kind of range is just putting them through with no difficulty whatsoever. 8 points personal now.
I think Scantlebury knows that the tempo's changed and he needs to bring it back down again to more Sheffield's pace.
Singleton, this time it's Bennett who tries to stop him, and that's not quite such a good matchup. Easy one for Billy. 5 points for Singleton.
I definitely think Billy Singleton struggles a little more with somebody with more size like Richard Windle on him.
Payne to Scantlebury, involved in all the good things that Sheffield are doing right now, as he has been throughout the season. That's why they were Northern Conference winners. McKinney, three-pointer. Well, there were two Leicester players converging on it, but both ran into each other. Much talking going on there, it would seem. McKinney might have another go from this range. Just too many. Scantlebury, again, has plenty of time. Just thinks. Really frustrating Leicester, because they like to get on with it, like some momentum in the offense. Sheffield are not giving them that. Mike Payne for three.
We saw there how the patience of Sheffield really paid off. They looked, they made a good penetration and kicked it out for an easy three.
Lead up to 9. Myers battling for it. Myers won't give it up without a fight. The shot clock was down to 0. And that's the end of the second quarter. We've reached half-time. Leicester really cannot get Sheffield in range. Sheffield just keep pulling away. And at the half, they have a 9-point lead. Leicester 36, Sheffield 45. The last 20 minutes of basketball this British season, and that was taken back into his own half by Malcolm Leake, so not a great way to start the second half. And also bad news for the Leicester Riders is that Carl Brown is definitely out of this game and may not start the beginning of next season. He has cruciate ligament injury, and that will take some time to heal, and he certainly won't be involved here. So in effect, 5 players, and Brown doing what he does best, going physically to the hoop, try and help out his team, and ultimately he paid the price. Sheffield have started this third quarter pretty much the way they played in the first half, being strong around their opponent's basket and very hard to penetrate in their own. Flournoy, oh, that was to nobody in particular, just singing their praises, and that's a wasted pass, but they do have a 9-point cushion. But generally, John, this is where a Billy Mims team comes strong just after the half.
Absolutely. You know, Billy Mims has had one of his signature motivational speeches and screams at halftime to get his team motivated. So I think you're going to see them come out with some extra pressure here.
Perry, Billy Singleton, well, that was just ripped away from him. And, well, we're back up to that matchup again. Richard Windle against Billy Singleton, and just a bit too physical this time from Big Richard.
Yeah, Richard really wasn't in position. He put his arm down to save the 2 points, but needs to keep himself in the game here.
But they know that Billy Singleton from the free throw line is not that great. Having said that, now, of course, he'll down both of them for us.
Again, now, as we get close to the end of the game and while the game stays fairly close, the free throws will be crucial.
Billy Mims directing traffic, saying where he wants his players to be in the backcourt, hoping that Billy Singleton can put a second one away, and he does. 3 from 4, 75%, not a bad ratio for him. Terrell Myers, Peter Scantlebury, Ryan King, good movement again by Sheffield, just crisscrossing and trying to take the defense out of position. Myers, who's going to be first to that? Well, Windle got a palm on it. Straight back to the men in white, and they have started strongly here of Leicester in the third quarter, and there's 3 more from Malcolm Leake, and it's amazing what a difference 3 points can suddenly make. Look at that gap, only 4 now.
Big shot there by Malcolm Leake, and it's certainly motivated his team. You can see they're up now, really pressuring on defense.
Windle just holding it up, waiting for somebody to make a drive to the basket. That was fabulous Flournoy. Scantlebury thought he was fouled, then Myers does foul his man. An intentional foul being called by Billy Mims. That's what he wants. The referee's not going to give it, I don't think, but he says that was an intentional foul. No attempt to play the ball, just manhandling the player. Let's have a look as it comes out again.
No, I think it's a good play. You want to make a strong attempt at the ball, and if you don't get it, then you will get that foul at half court, but at least slow the pace down.
Well, Leicester have come out very strongly in this third quarter, as we thought they might. Blaylock leaning over two players, but still getting the shot away. He's their leading scorer by quite some way. In fact, almost double what anybody else has got for Leicester. He has 14. The lead just 2 now. Maybe this is where Sheffield might get the jitters. Flournoy. Blaylock. Johnson. Well, they say a little more composed and really trying to outgun Sheffield. It's always their game plan. A foul committed by Nate Reinking. And, well, Sheffield just a little bit off their guard at the moment.
You can really see that the pace has changed, and Sheffield is looking actually a little flustered now. The hand in there immediately, it's always going to be a foul. A good, strong move, but it's always going to be a foul with the hand in.
Myers trying to hold off his man. He's going to be careful he doesn't accumulate too many fouls. Blaylock again goes round the bat, trying to be a bit too clever this time. The surface may have a little bit of perspiration on it now. Flournoy, good work by him. Lovely work. Is it going to go in? Yes, it is. I thought about dropping out for a moment, but the second basket of the game for the former Birmingham Bullet. Started with Sheffield at the beginning of the season. Johnson baseline. This is more what we were seeing with Sheffield in the second quarter. A good defensive cover. Flournoy was back there, but Perry has it stripped away from him. And the last touch came off a Sheffield player. Sheffield disagree. The two referees. Well, one official says the other, I didn't see it, so you've got to make the call.
It's a good step up by the Sheffield defenders inside. I don't know. I think the referee thought perhaps it should have been a foul.
And while that was happening, 3 more from Larry Johnson. And Sheffield only lead by a point. What a dramatic transformation. Bennett. Billy Singleton trying to hold him off. That was a poor shot. And a chance for Leicester to take the lead. Surely they will now with Malcolm Leake. He puts it away for 2. And where have all these points suddenly come from? Billy Mims is getting his team and also the supporters in the crowd G'd up. 12-2 run for Riders, and the shot selection from Sheffield and now has gone completely out of the window. Johnson, Blaylock, and then that's going to be an offensive foul called against Blaylock, and Blaylock's after the referee. Might get a technical. He does get a technical. No timeout call. I take it back. It's the way he went and shouted straight in his face. Billy Mims is not happy. Chris Finch is not happy. Let's have a look at this move again.
Tough inside play there, but I think Fab may have had position. It's one of those things that the referee's never going to win. So both coaches are going to be upset either way. Well, going after the referee there, I expected that to be a technical, actually. He was lucky that there was a timeout coming.
There's Carl Brown with that leg strapped up. How agonizing is it for him? Just looking on. Leicester boy, started with Leicester. And may well finish his career with Leicester. Had a great time with London Towers when they beat the Leopards here. Billy Mims is still unhappy and calling a point of order with the official Keith Williams.
Billy Mims is one of those coaches that spends a lot of time working the referees. He thinks it's a big part of his strategy is to make sure the referee always knows exactly how Billy Mims wants the game to be called.
The quarter started with Sheffield leading 45-36, but Leicester have eaten into that lead and now overtaken them 48-47, and the game plan working so well for Sheffield in the first 20 minutes has just gone awry, but Reinking will try and rectify that with a very good three-pointer.
That's a huge shot by Rankin. They really needed that. Sheffield needed that to settle themselves down, get themselves back into this game.
Well, they now start trading baskets. Sheffield had that comfort zone of 8-10 points for much of the first half. Johnson, that just flies up, could be anybody's, but a bit more alert now, Leicester, and Leake just off. Rebound for Bennett. Under a bit of pressure. They have to get it over the halfway line in 8 seconds. Reinking. Good drive by Reinking, and he gets fouled on the way.
Looks like that timeout really worked for Sheffield. They look a lot more composed as they come out.
Foul on Larry Johnson.
A good drive to the basket. I think taking a leaf out of Leicester's book there and really attacking the basket hard.
Bennett, Scantlebury, thought he saw an opening, which was then suddenly closed to him. Terrell Myers on the outside of the three-point arc, works his way inside. Scantlebury, though, goes for three. Might get his own rebound. He does get his own rebound. How sprightly is Peter Scantlebury? 38 years in November. Myers trying to find a way through where none existed. Referee has called the foul on Ralph Blaylock.
It certainly changed the tempo here a little bit. Where we see Terrell Myers taking it to the basket, doing a lot more one-on-one action now, like the Leicesterites were in the first quarter.
Sheffield have the ball though. Terrell Myers, lovely finger roll for two more, and Myers has just kept going serenely on through the game. He is such an excellent player, and that's why he was the league's MVP the season before last.
A tremendous player. I think he knows that it's his turn to step up now and try and give his team another offensive weapon.
Johnson again has to go the long way round. Sheffield making them eat that clock down. 24 seconds they have to shoot. Johnson fancies it from three, unchallenged. And he goes to 14. And Sheffield's lead trimmed back to 1. Their outside shooting in the first half, well, it was non-existent, but they've changed their ploy here, John.
Yeah, Leicester certainly, they're shooting the ball very well from the outside. I think the big key is that Sheffield's defense is not anywhere near as tight in the second half.
4:39 remaining in the third quarter. 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Sheffield with a slight advantage, but not enough to be comfortable. Ranking, that doesn't drop, but they might get the second possession. Bennett, I think, was committing a foul. Benny Mims likes that call and gets the vast array of the Leicesterites fans to stand up and cheer.
Bennett a little over-exuberant there, went over the back to get that rebound.
Sheffield now in team foul, so any foul they commit means that Leicester will go to the free throw line. Also looks very casual at taking the ball over halfway. He may think about the shot himself. Last time he was unopposed when he went for the three. This time he'll have to shovel it away. And Malcolm Leake gets fouled. They say that's goaltending. The ball was actually on its way down. The points won't be given. There will be free throws from the free throw line. Nate Reinking, the man who picks up the foul.
I think you can really see that Sheffield's defense has become more see-through. There, a wide open pass right through to the inside of the paint. It shouldn't happen at this stage, certainly not in a championship game.
Blaylock. These could be very important points now. Free throws could possibly decide the outcome of this game. They very often do. Blaylock, though, the first of two, just to give them a slender 1-point lead. He goes to 16. And roles reversed. Leicester with the slight advantage. Michael Payne. Ranking coming close to him. And that's Leicester's turn to box out Sheffield, make sure there's no room through the centre. Payne did very well there, but then lost out to Ralph Blaylock. Blaylock was watching that closely. Eagle-eyed. Johnson now for another two. Back up the backboard it comes, but Billy Singleton's underneath. He can't put it back, and Sheffield get it through Bennett. Had to get through a crowd of traffic to release himself and the ball.
A smart job there by the big man. Knew he didn't have an outlet pass, so took a couple of solid dribbles out, made an easy pass.
Myers for three. All of a sudden, Sheffield are wide open. Billy Singleton pops it in for two more. And the game plan was working so well in the first 20 minutes. Will Chris Finch call the timeout shortly, because it doesn't seem that everything is working on the rails as it was in the opening two quarters. Leicester runs 7-0 run.
Oftentimes when a team loses a lead, especially in a big game, they often think that each one player wants to step up and try and win the game on their own, and you can't do that, especially a team like Sheffield. They're too much of a team to do it on their own.
Just over 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Sheffield have lost the momentum, and Leicester have come straight back. They had a 10-point advantage, Sheffield. Well, that's now been eroded, and Leicester are leading by 3 and make that 5. Two more for Ralph Blaylock. He goes to 18. and Leicester are very much on a run. They're on a 9-0 run. The last 9 points, all from Leicester.
Leicester's now looking much more like the composed team in this game. As underdogs, oftentimes you feel less pressure, but I think now they really have a taste for it and think they can win this game.
Scantlebury has to go outside to Bennett. That's just inside for 2. Takes him to 7. And Sheffield have ended that scoring drought, and Fab Flanoy is going to be coming back into the play very shortly. By shoved by Chris Finch to get him back involved in the play, but at the other end, some dramatics and our first bit of showboating, if you like, from Pernell Perry.
Perry with the strong dunk there, on the same exact move to get wide open underneath.
Myers leaves the ball, gets it back. Scantlebury. McKinney goes baseline. You'd rather see him from outside shooting. I'm sure that's where he's so deadly. Oh, that was what he was intending to do. Zach Bennett trying to get the ball back to McKinney for the three-pointer, but it went well wide. 5 points the lead now for Leicester. Both teams on team fouls, so every foul committed, they'll go to the free throw line. Here's the drive, maybe for Johnson. Johnson, nice work, very nice work. He's now picked up momentum and picked up the tempo of the game. And all of a sudden they're spreading around in terms of scoring in the Leicester ranks, which they need to do. Myers, lovely finger roll again. 2 more for him, he goes to 14.
I think Sheffield's got to be careful that they don't get caught up in the pace and certainly don't get panicky and think that this is a game that's getting out of hand. It's still very close.
That's Terrell Myers' 3rd foul. Into the game comes Richard Windle, a bit more muscular approach needed maybe now.
Again, a solid drive down the side. We're not seeing the same kind of defense from Sheffield as we did in the first half. In the first half, we would have seen 2 or 3 players there contesting that.
So the free throw line beckons yet again. And this time Larry Johnson. 16 points to his name. Just to add it to 17. That's what he does. And the biggest lead of the game for Leicester by some considerable way now. 6 points. And a fairly decent second quarter. They matched Sheffield point for point, 21 each they were. But this one has definitely belonged to Leicester, and they always seem to come strong about this time of the game. Mike Payne needed that to drop. The rebound also needed to go to a Sheffield hand, and it didn't. And a quick break again from Leicester, and this is where they can be so dangerous. 2 more for Pernell Perry. He joins Johnson and Blaylock in double figures.
Really an amazing turnaround in this game. In terms of the psychology of it, Leicester looking the much more composed, the much more dominant team at this point.
Well, Richard Windle thought the foul had been committed against him. In the end, the foul is given, and 2 free throws. Now, what's been called here? Billy Singleton isn't sure. I think the foul has been called against Sheffield. Now, Richard Windle will step up to the free throw line for 2. 16-4 run now for Leicester Riders. Windle. Not even close.
Free throws are going to be big coming down here. Leicester's looked much more focused. Certainly at the foul line, they've done a lot better job in the second half. But Sheffield now really has to lock in and knock these foul shots down.
Quite a noise reverberating around the Wembley Arena. Billy Mills once again getting the crowd on, not only on the edges of their seats, but off their seats. And they are the ones who are making the most noise, so they have the most excitement and the position to get excited about now. 64-57 into the last minute of the 3rd quarter, which has been dominated by some way. They trailed by 9, they now lead by 7. This has been good work, typical Billy Mims style. As that drops, that's more trouble for Sheffield, but fortunately for them it doesn't. This will be the last offense probably of the 3rd quarter if Sheffield play carefully. 16 seconds, smart basketball required here from Nate Reinking. He's got Windle waiting for it, Payne waiting for it, McKinney and Fab Flanoy, and that's exactly what he didn't do. It's stolen away, and Leicester, that was surely a charging foul. Yes, it is.
That was excellent play there by McKinney. Smart, he knew he couldn't keep with him pace for pace with him with a full head of steam, but just stood in the way and took the charge, took away 2 points.
Well, there's the ball being stripped away. Now watch this.
It definitely takes some heart to take a charge like that.
3 seconds on the clock, which means that Reinking has to get this shot off very quickly and isn't able to. McKinney does. Was it off? It was! They're going to give it! It's a three-pointer! Ian McKinney right with a buzzer beater of a shot. Goodness me, though Billy Mims says no, Chris Finch says yes. It's what the officials say that matters, and I think they'll give that three. There's still a bit of consultation. I think he got it off in time.
That's two tremendous plays by Ian McKinney down the end there. Takes a charge, and then the clutch three-point shot.
It's not been given. Billy Mims can celebrate. That could be very crucial down the stretch. That three-pointer not given, so the gap remains at 7. Leicester 64, Sheffield 57. A turnaround of massive proportions, but then again, we expect that from a Billy Mims type team. 28-12, they won the third quarter. That's after a very poor start by the Riders. They were trailing by 10 early in the game. Well, they've turned that right on its head and are now leading by 7. Make that 10.
They're now giving up those wide open threes. Leicester's knocking them down in the second half.
Blaylock goes to 21 points, and he really has been a difference, hasn't he? Scantlebury does well to get through a crowd of traffic, but can't get the quality shot away. And the steal is here, and Leicester are running right now. Blaylock, they don't need Carl Brown, who got an injury. It turned out to be cruciate ligaments, we understand. He's their 6th man on the court, but he can't make it on there, so they're surviving with 5. Here's Bennett, should get this one in quite comfortably too, given the back door, and he took it quite easily. And Billy Mims says, well, where did my defense go? They went AWOL there. 9 points for Bennett, 8 points the margin. Now, can Sheffield stage the kind of run that Leicester did to get them in the ascendancy and to get them in the box seat?
Sheffield really has to make sure they play solid defense, get stops, and not try and get this entire lead cut into in one shot. They're going to have to do it little by little, just peg away.
Shot clock down to 3. Oh, even falling away. Ralph Blaylock does it again. This man has come to life, and he certainly has come to play.
You can really see Leicester's confidence rising now. That's a tough shot there by Blaylock, but he looks so confident taking it.
Michael Payne, they're going to go for the bomb squad now to go outside. Bennett gets fouled. Will that 2 count? It will. So Bennett will go into double figures. The foul is on Malcolm Bleak. And Zach Bennett will go to the free throw line.
And that's really the way that they're going to do it. Nice shot there by Zach Bennett. Had patience, waited for the defender to go into the air, and then took it right through him.
Zach Bennett, so far, has not had a great night from the free throw line. Just 1 from 4 before this. Make that 1 from 5. Yes, we've stated it so often and stressed the fact that free throws down the stretch can be the difference between two teams. They may well be here, but the shots are raining in from everywhere from Leicester. That's the first one that didn't drop for a while. Peter Scantlebury is not happy. He's bellowing instructions at his teammates to get into the groove again. Reinking, that's a nice play. That's more of what we were seeing earlier on from Terrell Myers, now being executed by Nate Reinking. Now, Terrell Myers has picked up another foul. I think that's his 4th of the game, and now he's in foul trouble.
I think Scans is yelling out there. I think he knows that the game flow is not going how he needs it in order for the Sheffield team to win. He has a lot of experience. There, Terrell trying to just give him a nudge and not pick up the foul, but the referee right on top of it.
So Terrell Myers will sit it out for a while because 1 more foul and he's out of the game completely. Could be very, very significant, that, John.
Yeah, I think without Terrell, they're going to have to look to other weapons to score, but perhaps it'll be the impetus they need to really tighten up their defense, which is where they're going to win this game.
He is their top scorer with 14 points. Reinking needs to maybe take up the mantle left behind by Terrell Myers. Scantlebury will keep working hard, and that you'll be absolutely certain right down to the last second. The Sheffield don't want it to go that far. They've lost here before in the semi-final. They want to go out as winners. That will go behind the backboard and revert to Leicester territory.
We can see now that Sheffield they're really stagnant on offense. They're getting the ball into the post and then maybe getting 1 pass out, and they're getting tested shots, whereas in the first half they moved the ball. You saw a lot of player movement on the floor, and it got them the kind of shots that got them a huge lead.
Johnson He's already pinged in a couple of threes already in the game. Another foul committed underneath the hoop. And, well, a few heads are starting to go down now. Zach Bennett picks up another one. That's his third of the game.
It's always a bit demoralizing when you lose a lead like that. But still, that's the kind of play right there with Billy Singleton taking it strong down. That's what you've got to avoid. Letting him get that deep, there's very little you can do but foul them.
Billy Singleton, last time got both free throws easily dispatched, and that one takes him into double figures. He's on the court for all but 2 minutes of the game. 10 rebounds now for Pernell Perry. And, thought about going in, but only 1 from 2 this time for big Billy Singleton. Well, if Sheffield are going to make a move, this is where they have to do it. Bennett leaning over, not a great shot, could have waited. Scantlebury was there, shouting at Bennett as he rushes back, saying, well, I was there for the pass, why didn't you choose me? And it's the pass selection that was so good early on for Sheffield, the rotation that was so good for Sheffield, has totally disappeared.
Again, the pace all wrong for Sheffield at the moment. Anytime you see Leicester with a lot more patience than Sheffield, Sheffield's really not going to be in good shape.
This is good from Scantlebury. Can he take it all the way? He can, and that was rejected. Now, was it on the way down? It was. So 2 more for Scantlebury. He goes to 10. You can't touch it in that position.
Scant has always been very good at using his body. Made sure he got the shot up there on the board, and yes, definitely a goaltend.
Good work by Mike Payne. Excellent work by Mike Payne. Bounced off him twice there. That's what Sheffield needed. And a technical on Billy Mims. Billy Mims, the Leicester Riders coach, has said something out of turn to Keith Williams, who's had enough. That'll be a technical, so shots for the Sharks and sideline possession. And I think the Sharks have called a timeout. Well, certainly there's a bit of a huddle going on. But now, of course, Ian McKinney will be on his own, so Chris Finch is taking a, well, a sort of unofficial timeout, if you like, to talk to his players. Now, let's explain what happens now on a technical here, John, because this could just move the momentum of the game a bit.
Certainly, Billy Singleton Billy Mims is no stranger to the technical foul. He does work the referees hard. And the strange things about them is that often a technical foul can really get your side fired up. Coaches sometimes use them as almost like game plan tools.
And McKinney missed the first, gets the second. Now Sheffield will have possession from the centre line. So possibilities here for Sheffield to trim that lead. It's only 4. It's not out of sight yet. And certainly now it is definitely Billy Mims of the 2 coaches who's looking more animated, just trying to keep the tempo going for his team. Richard Windle, Ryan King. Good work from Ryan King. He is starting to step up and take the mantle of Terrell Myers, who's off the court with 4 fouls.
An excellent play by Sheffield to get Rankin a nice open shot at the top of the key.
Johnson, another drive, as we pushed outside. Defensive cover by Sheffield, much better now. This is what they were doing early in the game, and they don't get it this time because Billy Singleton is stripped of the ball. That's exactly what Sheffield were doing in the early stage of the game. Maybe they've got it back now. Exactly
what we were seeing early in the game. Sheffield, 2 or 3 defenders all over them.
Ryan King, 3-pointer from McKinney would do nicely. He's not going to get it though, but Payne's underneath it. So too is Windle. The ball's out of court. Now, Billy Mims is screaming at the other official now. If he's not careful, he could be thrown out of the game altogether. They might end up with no coach.
Absolutely. I think Billy is he's pushing the envelope here with the referees.
Harry Johnson, slow, steady build-up. 5.5 minutes or thereabouts left in the game. Only 2 points in the game now. It's really tight. Johnson, good work behind. Great work by Perry. Excellent move by the Leicester Riders. And the lead back up to 4. But it's easily trimmed if Rankin can get going. Rankin slips over, but there's McKinney. Windle, maybe a 3-pointer from Payne. No, it's Scantlebury will go inside. He's marked by 3 players just straight on top of him, not giving him a chance to breathe. They might go for the 3-pointer. Looked twice, decided not to go for it. Maybe Rankin. It's going. The shot clock's down to 4. Payne, it was a really awkward angle there for him, but he managed to get the ball to Scantlebury. But Leicester have now picked up where Sheffield left off at the other end.
Yeah, you can really see Leicester's defense has tightened up, really contesting hard every shot that Sheffield tries to take.
McKinney, here's Payne for 3. No, it's in and out, but they might get the rebound. They do. Richard Windle, what a titanic tussle he's having underneath the basket just to get possession. But Sheffield have gone a long time without scoring, and that clock is down to 4:35. Great defense here by Leicester. Scantlebury, can he turn? No, he can't. They're really boxing him out well. Right King! And the rebound comes back, and two players go for it. That was rather messy from Leicester, but then the ball's out of play from Blaylock, and that was very, very clumsy and unnecessary, really.
Yeah, I think we've gone with 4 possessions now with Sheffield on offense, where they've not moved the ball, where they've had 5 misses now in a row. And I really think they need to get back to that ball movement. Move the ball, get the players moving, get them the wide open shots that get them the lead early.
Terrell Myers back into the game. 4 fouls he may have, but they need him out on the court to Sheffield. McKinney, Scantlebury will try and direct the traffic from there. Windle thought about a shot. Myers will take the shot. Will it go in? No, it won't. They're just not dropping for Sheffield. They did early on. They're not now, and that's why Leicester have the momentum. Perry can't control it. The ball's still in court. He did well there. The shot clock is down to 15. And Leicester taking a bit of the impetus out of the game, trying to cool things down a bit. It's been them that's injected all the tempo, which has unsettled Sheffield in the second half.
Yeah, with Sheffield missing a lot of shots now, they're really going to have to focus on the defense. That's what's going to keep this game close enough for them to steal it at the end.
Blaylock finds the outlet he's looking for in Johnson, and Johnson puts it away. They are insurance points at this stage of the game. If they're there, then you know you've got them in the bag. 6 points now is the lead that separates Leicester, the underdogs, the 8th seeds going into the playoffs. Remember, they weren't expected to get this far. They weren't expected to get beyond the quarterfinals. They made it beyond the semi-finals by beating the London Towers, who were the #1 ranked team. And here they are, maybe going to win it. Richard Windle, it won't drop for him. 2 Sheffield players go for the same ball. It's so scrappy under there. And that'll be a jump ball between Billy Singleton and Richard Windle.
You can really see the intensity. My goodness, Billy Mims out on the floor. He's getting his team hyped up and ready to play. It's unbelievable, the turnaround.
Well, this has put himself on the team sheet. I don't suspect we'll see him come out and play, but he's about as close as he possibly can get to it.
A wonderful fight underneath the basket here. Billy Mims coming up with the ball, but a lot of physical contact.
Over 2 minutes since Sheffield last got a basket. And those 2 minutes are very precious, because Leicester have extended their lead and they have possession, and now it's them who have absolutely no cause to rush this. They'll take their 24 seconds before they have to take a shot if they need to, because the advantage is theirs. Very poor work there, though, and Sheffield need the quick break now if they can get it. Still time, 2:56. We're into the last 3 minutes. Sheffield with Terrell Myers trying to go, as he has done a couple of times, through Billy Singleton. And he's all on his own now. Payne gets back to try and support, but nonetheless, Billy manages to put it away for 2 more, and the lead is 8. Can Sheffield respond? They need to respond quickly if they're going to do it. Scantlebury, he's the man who can lead the revival if anybody can. Has no room for the shot whatsoever, but had to take it. 8 misses in a row now for Sheffield. Johnson is fouled, and the Sheffield player just disappears into the photographers, and Terrell Myers is out of the game. 5 fouls for him. His game is run. Maybe it's the last time we'll see him in a Sheffield Sharks shirt. Chris Finch has called a timeout with 2 minutes 26 remaining, and somehow they have to pull up an 8-point deficit.
I think you can see that Sheffield has completely lost their composure. That's probably why Chris Finch called that timeout. He knows it's not crucial, that the game is not out of hand at this point. They can still come back in this, but they have to get some stops on defense, and they have to take some quality shots. It's no good going with the one-on-one throughout the entire offensive sequence.
Leicesteritis fans in abundance. They've certainly made a lot of noise and made their presence felt. Maybe they're going to be cheering not only the cup final victors that you saw in grandstand back in January at the Sheffield Arena, but maybe they're going to do a remarkable double. Remember, this is a team at the beginning of the season didn't even have a court. They play at Loughborough. Well, Peter Scantlebury is still as fired up for this as ever. The Leicester fans are. They have the spotlight on them. And maybe in 2 minutes and 26, the spotlight will be raining down on their players and Billy Mims. He is such a talisman wherever he goes. Johnson. No. Just when he needed that point. 19 points already, though, accumulated. There's Carl Brown being comforted by Billy Mims. Went down with an injury in the first, and it sounds like cruciate ligaments he's done, which means that well, there must be a question mark over him starting in the beginning of next season. But meanwhile, Sheffield have a lot of work to do. They have time in which to do it, but they haven't scored in 9 attempts. Here's Ian McKinney. 3 points maybe from him would be very, very welcome at this stage. Ranking leaning over again, and then not letting him get close to the basket. It's almost a mirror image of what we saw with Sheffield and Leicester early on, where Sheffield weren't letting Leicester get anywhere near the basket. Now it's the other way around. Absolutely. Leicester's taking a leaf out of Sheffield Cook and is really contesting every shot. They know that they're a great jump shooting team, and they're not giving them those wide open looks anymore. Ian Payne, Michael Payne from the arc, went for a three-pointer. That would be a backcourt violation. No, not according to the referee. Billy Mims says no, and there's 3 points from Nate Ranking. Came out of the blue. It breaks that barren sequence of what, 2.5, getting over 3 minutes for Sheffield. Foul committed by Michael Payne. And that will take Leicester to the free throw line with 1:47. Is there any way Sheffield can turn this around now? Absolutely. They're going to need to get good shots. They're going to have to really come up. Chris Finch is going to have to come up with some great plays to give them wide open looks, because Leicester knows they need threes. They need threes to win this game. So Johnson, who's missed a free throw on the 2 visits he's just recently had, gets the one, and he goes to 21. Ralph Blaylock has 23. Top scorer for Sheffield is not on the court and won't be now for the rest of the game. Terrell Myers with 14. They've got to go outside now. Three-pointer from Ranking. Can they get the rebound? Scantlebury's in there for it, but Blaylock beats him to it. Payne keeps it in play. He's a three-point specialist. They go to Ian McKinney, who puts them away regularly, but they're going inside this time. That's the foul committed by Blaylock on Michael Payne. I'm surprised he didn't go to Ian McKinney for 3 there. Yeah, I really should have looked to pass it out for 3, but Sheffield's staying alive here because of the offensive rebounds. They keep on getting these offensive rebounds. The only reason they're staying in the game. Clock stopped with 1:24, as he will do every time the play is interrupted now. A strong move by Ian McKinney inside. Michael Payne needed to put that one away, and early on it was Leicester who weren't putting their free throws away. Now it's Sheffield. Not great free throw shooting by either side overall, and 2 missed by Michael Payne. That could be the last chance that Sheffield had, snuffed out completely, because at the other end Perry gets fouled by Ian McKinney, who had no other option there because he was all on his own. No, definitely had to foul him, but I think the second miss there was an intentional miss by Michael Payne. See if they can get the offensive rebound. They've had such luck with that, and maybe get a quick 3. Well, in terms of free throws, not been great. 12 for 21 for Leicester. And Sheffield, not good either, I'm afraid. 5 for 13, 38% Sheffield from the free throw line. I think when Sheffield looks at this game, they'll definitely look to their free throws as a big culprit for their downfall. But Leicester are giving Sheffield a lifeline because they're not putting theirs away either. The 1 on the last 2 attempts from the free throw line. Larry Johnson put 1 away. They can hardly bear to watch, but they are watching, and watching Perry miss both of them, so he's responded in kind to what's happening at the other end, but they get the rebound. That's important, and Sheffield have to foul unless Scantlebury can get it, and he can. Scantlebury has McKinney to his right, Ranking to his left, and he gets fouled by Larry Johnson. That's 4 for the Leicester Riders, number 5, only 3. So he has a couple more to give. Only Ralph Blaylock's in foul trouble. He has 4. Oh, you saw Scans there looking for the outlet pass to Ian McKinney, trying to get that quick 3. Now, of course, in the old days, you could choose to go sideline possession here and run it, or take free throws, but now you're obligated to take those free throws, so sometimes it works against you, because they quite like an open play for 3 here. Yeah, I think they would. Sheffield definitely would rather be looking to take that 3-point shot and trying to cut into that 7-point lead. And of course, no guarantees from the free throw line, but Peter Scantlebury is there, and he hasn't been to the free throw line yet in the game. His first 2 attempts come at a crucial time And the old pro steps up to the line as if nothing rests on his shoulders at all. And he goes to 11, joins Zach Bennett on 11. Nate Reinking has 12. 2 for Scants. All that experience coming to bear. 5 points the lead.
Scants has been in those tight endgame situations a million times, and I think stepping up to the line at this point is second nature to him.
So the foul committed. Both sides now on team fouls, so the fouls committed go to the other end. 3 for 7, Johnson from the free throw line before this. That's a very important one, though. Takes him to 22 and opens out the margin to 6. 2 3-pointers needed by Sheffield to tie the game. That's not going to drop, and Scantlebury's got it. Who's going to get the rebound off his fingers? It's Sheffield, and it's Nate Reinking looking to go all the way. Gets stripped to the ball by Singleton. That'll be end-line possession for Sheffield.
Definitely would have gone to the kick to Ian McKinney there. Though the 2 points would have been nice. 3 is necessary at this point.
Timeout called by Billy Mims. Leicester Riders want to talk it over with just under a minute remaining of the final quarter. They have the advantage. It's 79-73. The end of the game was a rather scrappy affair. Sheffield couldn't find a basket, and at the other end, Leicester Riders were putting them in from everywhere and getting their free throws as well. Larry Johnson, 24 points. Ralph Blaylock, 25. Johnson getting the most valuable player award, but it must have been close. Leicester Riders then, their second piece of silverware, the BBL Championship for 2001, beating the Sheffield Sharks 84-75.
Chris, you've heard the football cliche, a game of two halves.
Yeah.
That's how that was, wasn't it?
It certainly was, but I felt there was a run in there in the third period that they made, and we knew it was going to come because they're that type of team, and we just didn't take some smart shots at the other end, and it kind of fed their run a little bit. And then when we got ourselves back into the game, we just didn't knock down some shots that we normally do.
All right, Billy, explain to me how an 8th-ranked team comes right through against the odds and goes on to beat a team who've won everything else barring this championship.
Because this championship was won at the end of the season, not at the beginning. The only reason the Riders were 8th was because of a bad start to the season. Back in the dog days, we didn't have Malcolm Leake. He'd gone to Cyprus. Ralph Blaylock hadn't joined this team yet. It wasn't until Malcolm came back and Ralph came in that this team turned the corner. We won the National Cup. Down the stretch now, we won 18 out of our last 26 games. And championships are not won in the beginning, they're won in the end. Today was the end of the season, and I think the best team in the BBL won and is still standing, and they're champions.
We just didn't get any of the rub of the green, McKinney's 3, the charge in front of the bench, little things like that just all seemed to go against us when we needed just one of those things to go for us.
And you lost Carl Brown at what seemed to be a very crucial time in the game. What kind of impact did that have on the rest of the team?
I think the loss of Carl probably did something to help motivate us as well, because when those guys saw Carl roll out there in that wheelchair and that leg all strapped up, I think he's got a torn cruciate ligament. He'll have surgery, but Carl will be back. And at the end of the day, we were here at Wembley because of Carl Brown. In the 3 playoff games in Coventry, Carl Brown made big shots, big plays at big moments in those big games. We got here because of Carl Brown. He was the MVP in one of the games to get us here. Today, he got us here, and the other 5 of that Super 6 finished it for Carl.
I'm not really worried about the injury. I'll be back. Hopefully it's not too serious. I'm just glad that we won. And, the players, they did me proud, did the Leicester Town proud, and all the fans proud. And I'm just happy. I don't want to take away from the victory. My injury's an injury, which is going to be there. I'll take care of that. I'm a hard worker. But I just want to dwell on us winning. I'm just going to go and enjoy myself to the best of my ability. But it's for all the doubters out there in any sport, even if you're not one of the top teams, even if you're a team under 500, if you try, you work hard, you play as a team, you play as a unit, and you don't listen to the media, you can do whatever you want. And that's just something in life.